Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It is time for another eco lifestyle build. And actually, I didn't really plan to work on another eco lifestyle build so soon because, as I mentioned in my last video, I wanted to work on another type of mansion, just a different theme. But then I had the idea to use a debug object and it just fit perfectly into the whole eco lifestyle theme. So here we are, another eco lifestyle mansion. The debug object is a concrete cube. You may have already spotted it right in the beginning where I showed you the finished build, and I had a lot of fun to work on this and I hope you like how it turned out. So here at this point I'm working on the general shape of the build, and I wanted to have these two super long rooms sticking out of the roof. The whole floor plan is a bit crazy, so small disclaimer here. And I just tried to have a house that was built inside a hill, inside a mountain. So this was kind of my initial idea for this. You can see here how I'm raising the terrain behind the build. And later on I'm going to use some debug rocks to just kind of hide all the gaps, because sometimes you have these gaps between the terrain and the walls, and I just wanted to merge the whole house into the hill that I created. I'm not really sure if this is really super visible, because in the finished result, because I used so many rocks and plants and all that to kind of hide the gaps, you just saw one of those gaps right over there on the left side right now, and I don't even know if it's really that visible that there is kind of a lot of terrain going on. I went kind of overboard with hiding the slopes and all that, but I wanted this to look really organic and natural, so I just added more and more stuff. Also, ever since the pack came out, I really wanted to have a huge build using a lot of debug objects. So Eco Lifestyle has a lot of new debug objects, and I love the debug menu. You guys know this. And we have some super beautiful white rocks. They are just amazing, and for some reason I just couldn't use them for any of my last builds. Like it just wouldn't make sense to place them anywhere really, but here it just kind of all made sense, and I finally found a purpose for these beautiful rocks. And I was also able, as I said, to use the concrete tube. So I think this is the wonderful 50 by 50 eco lifestyle build that I wanted to build all along, and I hope that you guys like it. So in Evergreen Harbor there is a quarry, and this is where the rocks come from. So in case you have no idea, at some point we got a new cheat, the bb.show live edit objects cheat, and this cheat added a lot of environment objects to the game. We had the debug menu all along and the bb.show hidden objects cheat, but it was mostly stuff like, I don't know, plates and just some random stuff. But then the new cheat just gave us the option to use a lot of rocks and trees, just environment objects, and these rocks are also part of this menu. So you need eco lifestyle and the bb.show live edit objects cheat, and they're just beautiful. I love the color. They're different. Like all the rocks, they are kind of similar sometimes, but these are really unique. I really like the color. They give us a lot of new options, to be honest. They almost look like ice floating on water. Like the shape is really unique and beautiful. But I also noticed that one of the new rocks is identical with a base game rock, but this doesn't matter. Like it's only one of them and it has a different color. But these new rocks, they are amazing, and I had a lot of fun to use them. I also like that one of them is like super boxy and rectangular, and the shape makes it really easy to just kind of hide the back of a lot or a slope depending on what you are building. Just a lot of new options, so I can definitely recommend to take a look at the cheat and the new objects in the debug menu if you own the pack. It's like there's a lot of great stuff. Also a super beautiful fence that I'm planning to use at some point, but I don't know, I was kind of stuck in this whole eco lifestyle mindset. Super modern, lots of whites and greens, just like this kind of style. For some reason this is what I envisioned right away when the pack was announced, and I'm kind of stuck on this, but I want to try something new and fun soon. And here I was just going crazy with all the rocks and the concrete tubes, and I think the shape is also quite unique. And here I'm using grass just to hide this little gap once again. So we have this new floor color which looks like grass. I mean, we had a grass floor before, but now we have new swatches, and this one here is much more beautiful than the base game one, and I really like it. And I was just placing down the floor, and then I used a lot of rocks and plants, different kinds of plants, to just make it look really organic and natural. I really enjoy the contrast. The whole build is really, yeah, just really modern. And then we have a lot of green, a lot of rocks. It's really natural. So I really like the contrast here. And here I was running into a couple of problems. And this build was just something else. You see that there's a wall popping up as soon as I place the roof, and this doesn't make sense because there wasn't any wall, like it just appeared and I wasn't able to delete it. And then I was running into some really strange and crazy issues. So I know that the build mode has been a bit buggy since forever, but for some reason I've always been quite lucky. Like a lot of people have been complaining about bugs in build mode for years, but I was relatively lucky, I'd say. I mean, I had a couple of issues like the glass floor that makes your floor invisible and all these little small glitches, or the dark roof trim that looks like a weird shadow. Just minor things really, but here this build, this was something else. So what happened at some point was I wanted to move the build a little bit to the back, just like 2 tiles or something. We have this option in case you have no idea where you can move a whole lot, like anything you've built in this lot you can just move it. And I wanted to bring this build a little bit to the back of the lot, and when I did that, the game loaded a while, like I don't know, 10 seconds maybe, and then a part of the build was moved to the back, but all the windows, doors and roofs just stayed in place. So all these objects, the windows, doors and roofs, were now separated from the build, and I was like, okay, and I wanted to undo this and it wouldn't work. Like when I was clicking on the undo button, it wouldn't do anything, and then suddenly it worked. And then at some point I wanted to delete a floor at the bottom, the one that I built in the front at the very bottom, like in the basement area, and it wouldn't let me. And then suddenly all at once all windows disappeared. Like this never happened to me before, but it's extremely exhausting and buggy at the moment, and I'm just praying for a fix, like a patch. We just need a patch. It's just I don't know if it's just me, but at some point I felt like it was almost unplayable, but then luckily it worked. From what I've gathered, it seems to be like super common at the moment for stuff to simply disappear, like you're building something and then it's gone. I also had the issue that I wanted to delete different things, like stairs for example, and it wouldn't do anything. Then suddenly the stairs were gone after like 15 seconds. I wanted to build floor just on the train, and there's a underground garden that you will see later. It's really fun. And when I was working on this underground garden, when I was placing down some floor, it just had this weird visual glitch. I don't know, just let me know in the comments down below if you've been running into problems. It's like I was just stunned. It was like, is my game haunted? What is going on? It was like weird. But let's talk about the whole tube situation here and the roof that I'm working on, because this was like super confusing. So I used this concrete tube. It's a debug object. It came with Eco Lifestyle, as I said, and you can merge them perfectly together. Like they really fit perfectly into each other, and you can create a really long tube. I used the tool mod to create this curve. If you don't want to use the tool mod, you can simply place them like this, like without this curve that I created. But you could create a curve on the ground or on a roof by simply holding down Alt on your keyboard and pressing your left mouse button and moving your mouse. This way you could freely rotate the tube or any object really, and then you could also create some type of curve. But I really wanted this tube to go down. I was going for this kind of look. And if you don't own or use the mod, if you just download the slot, everything will still stay in place, so you don't need the mod. But in case you want to do something like this yourself, I can either recommend checking out the tool mod by Twisted Maxi, or you could simply, as I just explained, create a curve on the ground or on a roof. And then I built the glass roof on top, as you saw, and for some reason I was just confusing myself. I wanted these glass roofs to be merged perfectly together, but eventually it worked out. I also used the living glass floor, and I rotated it using the tool mod once again, so I was able to create these glass walls at the top of these, like, I don't know, these rooms sticking out of the roof at the bottom. So I just wanted to have another eye catcher, and I was really surprised how beautiful this new roof swatch looks. It also came with Eco Lifestyle, and it looks beautiful. It's perfect for a modern build. It doesn't look too industrial or something. I mean, you can create a container home using this roof swatch, for example, but I think it also works perfectly fine if you want to have just a little bit over the top modern mansion. You could use it for all kinds of different things, and I really like how they created this. And then I was struggling placing some stairs. So of course your Sims have to be able to go down there, and then they have to be able to walk up there to enter the house. And the floor plan is a bit unique. As I said, at the very bottom you will find a lot of bedrooms. There are 6 bedrooms in total, then there are also 2 or something at the very top, and in the center of the build there is a kitchen, just the living area and all that stuff. So I don't know, I just wanted to add enough bedrooms, and at the very bottom there was the most space, so this is kind of how I did this. Usually I really like to have the living area at the very bottom, then you just walk up to the bedroom area, which is kind of the most common floor plan kind of, but here it's all a bit different. This, as I said, this build is something else. It's a bit different. And here I just used some roofs to hide the slopes. You guys know that I don't really like the slopes. I'm not happy with the options that we were given when the terrain tools were introduced, because I would really enjoy to change the color of the slopes. We can't, and I always had them using either rocks or the flat base game bush, but here I used some roofs, and I think it worked perfectly fine, because finally we have this grass roof swatch that was introduced with Eco Lifestyle. We didn't have a roof swatch like this before, and it's just amazing for builds like this. And you can just place a roof inside the terrain, just like I did here. I used a half gabled roof, and then you just apply the roof swatch and it looks really natural. And I mean, of course it wouldn't work for any type of build. This here is more on the modern and futuristic side, so it's perfect. But this way I was able to hide the slopes at the bottom. It looks more seamless, more polished, more perfect. Here I wanted to have a lot of natural elements, which is why I used the grass floor, for example. I used a lot of plants and rocks and all that, but it's still really modern and polished and perfect. And these slopes, just the roof slopes, are just perfect for this. I think you can have a lot of fun with roofs if you want to. And here I decided that I would like to have some solar panels, of course, and for this build I used the green swatch. And I didn't go overboard with the solar panels for this build, but I placed a couple of those on the roof and just here and there. I really like the swatch, and of course I also had to use the new glass awnings and the new plants, just a lot of new stuff. Here at this point it was all about decorating the house, making it look perfect. I used the spade lighting stripes to just have a kind of a border going around the glass roof at the top. I also placed a Eco Lifestyle rock down there, and just all these kinds of just a couple of things to just decorate the build. And then I was about to start to work on the interior. So I furnished this using a lot of the new objects, and at first I had no idea which floor to use for the living area, and you can see that I placed some other living glass floors in the back here, and this is kind of like a hallway, and behind it we have the underground garden. So this might not look like an underground garden at first glance, but above the garden we have the house. And when you use the this new, I don't even know what's called, like the camera that they gave us, where you can see through your Sim's eyes, you see that there is a ceiling above, so it's like a real proper underground garden. And because I used the glass floors, I eventually decided later on to just build a pool down there. At first I wanted to use this space for more bedrooms, but this would be weird, like to have a hallway above your bedrooms with some glass ceilings. Nope, I didn't want to do this. So this is just another indoor pool area. So we have one pool in the back or in the underground garden area, and then there is another one just inside the house. And this here is the dining room area, and just, I don't know, was just working on the whole color scheme, and I was changing up the colors a lot, and eventually it turned out to be really bright. I used a lot of beige and lots of blues actually, so I wanted this to look really happy. And here I'm once again using Chrissy Ortiz, that's her gallery ID, paintings. So I've talked about this in my last speed build, but in case you haven't watched it, So as we all know, Sims can create paintings using the easel, and we can just put these paintings on the wall, and the wonderful Chrissy YT just let her Sims paint all these paintings, and she posted them in the gallery. She just created some rooms, and she has different categories, so make sure to check out Chrissy YT in the gallery. It's CC free, it's just the paintings that your Sims can create, and they are so much more beautiful than all the other paintings that we have in game that came with some packs, in my opinion. They're really, really beautiful, really modern, and I definitely wanted to use a couple of those for this build. And this here is the kitchen area. It's a super, super open floor plan, and I used just an island counter that goes around the corner, and I really like how the floor plan turned out. It's not super huge, and I really had to see where I just place everything, including the living room, which is going to be placed just between the kitchen area and the dining room area, and I really had to use other space. And I think this is where it looks so beautiful, because it's not too open, and this way it looks more cluttered, and I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and I really like the color scheme, and it's big, it's just perfect for a mansion, but it's not too big. Like if you play in this house and if your Sims just hang out in this area, it's really manageable. It's not too big, everything is in one place, and the rest of the floor plan is a bit unique, as I said, especially because of these huge rooms that are sticking out of the roof. These are I just used them to place some stairs on the inside, and it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. I also placed a shelf right below the TV, so I was able to place some candles over there, and I placed some stuff on these new eco lifestyle shelves, and the hallway area, just placed a piano there and just some decorations, and this is one of the bathrooms. I of course also used the brand new bathtub, the sink, and the toilet that came with the new pack. And we have these, I don't know, they look like shutters. You can place them in front of a window, and I just did that. I didn't want to use some regular curtains, and I just used these so your Sims have some privacy. And I think it looks super beautiful when you look at the light, like these stripes, like it's really beautiful. And I put a lot of love into this bathroom. I really enjoy the contrast between the blue and the beige. And then I started to work on one of the bedrooms. As I said, there are 6 bedrooms in total, so there is a lot of space for your Sim family. There are 3 kids rooms. They are a bit smaller, but they still offer anything your Sims might need. And here I was going for a darker color scheme, just a bit of green. I don't know, I sometimes like to try some new stuff for the bedroom, just different colors and all that, and this is a bit darker. I also want to give you guys a very quick Animal Crossing update. So far I have 3 villagers, and the thing is, I have never seen the third one yet. It's like the super friendly cow, and nothing has really happened really. I went to this island where you take some wedding photos, and I'm just grinding to pay the mortgage. And yeah, this is kind of the Animal Crossing update. Not much has happened, and this is it, guys. I included some screenshots as always, and you can find this build in the gallery, fully furnished, unmodded, and CC free. You can find all the information down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.